We're in here in this goldenrod type grassy field where these coyotes are running through these willows, chasing mice and rabbits. Got two little nice trails here. I know the deer use these trails quite a bit, but I got more coyote tracks right here. I got rabbit tracks. I got one pair of coyote tracks there, and another old set going there. So I'm gonna double set this. If I miss them in that one, I'm gonna set them here. We're gonna show you guys how to legally set a cable restraint in the state of Wisconsin. Oh, you got one! You got one! Got a bass! Oh my god!
Good job, buddy!
Alright guys, here we are. I'm gonna show you how to set up one of these up. Tools I use, I just got a hold of these earth anchors. If you're not using these coyote trapping, you're losing at the game. You got to get some of these. This is the stake that you use to pound them in. This here is an earth anchor. This is what I'm going to be using to stake the trap down. That way I don't got to worry about pounding the rebar in, double staking it, worry about them jumping out and pulling out. This thing's going to hold them in, especially in this frozen ground. And with it being with this pointy tip, that's going to drive right through this frozen ground. And I'll use this guy to anchor it in. The earth anchor. I got a hammer I'll use, a nice little 3-pound hammer, sledgehammer. I do carry with me a pair of nips, some pliers, good set of pliers for cutting wire. I've also got some wire. This will be used to hold up my trap. And I can kind of bend it around and move it how I want it. And I've also got a legal Wisconsin trap. I have to look at the regulations, but you can pick this up anywhere at a trapping convention or just online. They sell them all over the place. So what I'll do is I'll set this trail here, and I want to make sure what I do is I'll always do like a Hawaiian symbol or whatever, and I'll just measure from the ground to the top of my thumb where I think a coyote is going to be traveling, because they're going to have their noses down typically most of the time, sniffing around through this grass especially. So I want to make sure the bottom of my trap is just about to the top where my thumb is. So I'm going to have it hanging right about here. Alright, let me show you the process that I go through to set this trap up. Now here in the state of Wisconsin, to be a legal trap, you cannot have any sort of entanglement. And if you look around me, there's just these tiny little saplings here, and that is legal in the state of Wisconsin. If you get up on a trap, with a coyote in it, he's gonna be jumping around, especially with these cable restraints. He might wrap himself in this sapling, but he'll shred it to pieces. He'll just absolutely tear it up, and it'll just be a big catch circle here. First thing I'm gonna do is get the end of my trap. All your traps gotta have a tag on them. Got a tag on the end of my trap here. I'm going to run my earth anchor. A lot of people do it differently. And then guys say, you know, how do I get my earth anchor back? You don't. You can get a puller, pull these out, but I ain't pulling these out of frozen ground. These are cheap. You can buy them. They're like $10 a dozen or something like that. They're cheap. So, and a lot of guys make them themselves even too. So I'll just loop that around the end of my cable restraint, and these all got a swivel on it. And I'll take my driver, set it in there, just like that. And I'll come off to the side a little bit here. I'll drive that. I'll set it over here. I'll drive that right through the ground. See that? So simple. Once you get through that little frost, that little 2-3 inches of frozen ground, it's like going through nothing. Especially with these drivers. Give it a couple taps, should come right out just like that. Pull on it, make sure it's not going to go anywhere. That ain't going anywhere. And then what I'll do is I will take a wire and get this set up right here. We're going to take a little break and warm up my fingers. Alright, you're going to want to take a little good chunk of wire, cut that off. Now what I want to do is I want to find a couple little sticks to hold my trap up. Got a couple right here, just break off this little sapling. Now I'm going to use those later. Alright, what I want to do, I'm going to run this wire through the bottom of my trap. Just loop it around. I'm going to take my cable restraint and wrap that wire around my cable restraint. Loop it all around there. So that way I can bend it how I want it. See how it does it like that? I can just bend it how I want it. And a lot of these traps, they got a little place where you can put the end of your wire. This trap specifically here, if you just get a close up of that, it's got a little spring right there. You can just shove it in there. Okay. So we want to make a loop big enough for the coyote's head to go through. A lot of people are different. I like, you know, anywhere from 8 to 10 inches of a hole for that coyote. Just about that much, a little bit bigger yet. They got pretty small heads. So I'm just gonna loop the rest of this wire around the trap. It's cold out here. If I'm moving a little slow, it's cold. It's like, the car said 7 degrees on the way here, so. Just like that. And now you might be wondering, well, how am I gonna get that trap held up? Well, that's what I got these little sticks for here. I'm just gonna kind of poke them into the snow a little bit. Don't have very much snow. These sticks are going to help you hold your trap up. You want to be about that far off the ground. Now I got this pretty much set up. It kind of looks hideous, but I mean, a coyote's going to want to put his head right where the most open spot is, which is right in this area. And I know we got some snow coming this week, and it's a little bit higher than you think it should be. But I know we got a little bit of snow coming, about 2 or 3 inches here in the next week or two. And what I want to do now is I want to just camouflage this wire and the cable for as best as I can. What I did here basically was, this piece here is holding up my trap. I ran a little sapling stick through the hole where my earth anchor was, so that way it could give me something to kind of put my wire around and then run my wire across, keeping this upright. Now what this stick here is doing is holding it into place. And I'm just going to add a few more sticks here just to hold it a little better in case the wind decides to blow. It does get windy here. That should be pretty good there. Now one thing I want to talk to you too about is what I'm going to do is place a stick in the front of the trap right about here on either side, and you want it about 10 to 12 inches. And what this is called is a chin up. What that's going to do is when a dog is, you know, walking downward and they see a stick right here, I mean, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to want to put your head up so your chin and your face isn't hitting this stick. So that's going to allow him to do is pick his head up and put it right through this hole. Wham, you got him. I'll do it on either side of the trap. Now this side's pretty well good. I'm not too worried about this side, but this side I want to close off a little bit. What I got here is a couple branches. I'm just going to break them downward like that. So that way he's got to put his head into that only spot available. So take some of this grass, just kind of hide everything a little bit. Just like so. And that there is your finished set. That's how it should look. That's a legal set here in the state of Wisconsin. Stay tuned. If you guys haven't subscribed, subscribe to the YouTube channel. A lot of how-tos coming your way. Onward to the next trap.